Hey, what's going on guys? The second legendary banner just came out, and along with it came with a new legendary hero named Gunnthra. It looks like these legendary heroes may show up at the end of every month. The next one is supposed to be at the end of January. In this video, I'll be going over stats, skills, and some skill inheritance options. After that, I'll do a quick overview of the legendary banner as a whole. Gunnthra is our second Green Tome Cavalier, second to Cecilia. At max level, she has 37 HP, 31 attack, 33 speed, 19 defense, and 25 resistance. My initial thought was that her stats are underwhelming, but that's literally how every Mage Cavalier has been, including the infamous Reinhardt, so I'm not going to undercut her just because of her stats. It's all about the tome and the rest of her kit. For example, again, Reinhardt is only really strong because of Dire Thunder. But if you want to talk about stats, these are stats that require Horse Emblem buffs. She probably won't perform that well outside of Horse Emblem. 31 attack with 33 speed are not good standalone offensive stats. Defensively, she's almost similar to Cecilia, but a little bit better. 33 speed can prevent doubles from enemies 38 and above, and with Horse Emblem buff, she's preventing doubles 44 speed and above. Anyways, her stats aren't that important without taking a look at the rest of her kit. Her unique tome is Blizzard, 14 might, 2 range, grants resistance plus 3 passively, so her base res goes up to 28. Grants bonus to units attack equal to total penalties on the foe during combat. Think of it like the polar opposite of Blade Tomes. Blade Tomes grants the users more attack equal to the total amount of display buffs that the unit received. Blizzard gains more power equal to the total amount of debuffs that has been inflicted on the enemy. So let's say the enemy has been inflicted by threat and speed 3, then Gunnthra would deal 5 extra damage because that enemy has been inflicted by -5 speed. If the speed was inflicted by threat and attack, speed, defense, and resistance, then Gunnthra deals a total of 25 extra damage. Special is Glacies. Her res is at decent numbers. It's a pretty important stat for her, so Glacies is fine. She's probably gonna run either Glacies, Iceberg, Luna, Moonbow, or Glimmer. A skill is Fortress Res, grants 5 res, inflicts 3 attack. Alright, look here, if your team has nobody to set up for her, then she's going to want a bunch of resistance so she can set up for herself with ploy abilities. There's only 2 skills that are good for that. It's Fortress Res or Fury, but you don't want to give her Fury because of her B skill. Her unique B skill is Chilling Seal. At the start of each turn, if Unix HP is equal or greater than 50%, inflicts attack speed -6 on foe on the enemy team with the lowest defense through its next action. So basically, if Gunnthra is at or above half HP, then at the start of each turn, she globally debuffs an enemy with the lowest defense for -6 speed and attack. That's actually a very powerful skill. Not only is that a big damage debuff, but the requirement is easy to meet. Do note that if all the enemies have the same defense, Chilling Seal does indeed debuff every single one of them. Anyways, it globally debuffs the enemy for -6 attack and speed, which means that she gains a bonus of 12 attack guaranteed on that debuffed enemy. Not only is it great as an offensive skill for her, but defensively for your team. Gravelyn has terrible defense, only 18. She's going to get hit by this ability probably every match you see her in. It's going to drop her damage by at least 12, maybe even 24 if she's running a quad build. As I was saying earlier, Fury's recoil is risky as it'll put her out of the health requirement. Fortress Res isn't the best skill either since it lowers her attack by 3. So you may run into a bunch of Gunthras when she is a bonus unit, so what can you do about Chilling Seal? You can inherit Harsh Command on one of your units and use it to reverse the penalties into bonuses. You want to give it to someone with decent defense for obvious reasons. Don't give it to your Brave Bow Archer or your Blade Tome Mage with Life and Death. Just don't give it to anyone with Life and Death in general because they'll probably be the ones getting affected by this skill. But yeah, Chilling Seal is a very cool skill. It synergizes well with her weapon, and the fact that it's a global debuff is very convenient. Seaslot is Res Ploy, perfect for her as it grants her even more damage. Res Ploy gives her an extra 10 damage, so she's guaranteed to deal 22 damage on one of the enemies that has been inflicted by both Chilling Seal and Res Ploy. If you compare her stats with the other Mage Cavaliers, they aren't that bad. If we take a look at it as a whole, then it's underwhelming, but her kit kind of makes up for it. She can output good damage, synergistic default set, the only other green Mage Cavalier in the game, and provides a lot of utility for any team out there. The only problem is that she has low BST and difficult to merge, so she may not be the best unit for you to use in Arena if you're looking to climb the ranks. As for boons and banes, I believe her best boon is speed, followed by resistance, then attack. Resistance is really nice since it's a +4 super boon, and that'll push her high enough to deploy some mages, assuming that she has Fortress Res equipped. Best bane is definitely defense, followed by HP. Unfortunately, those two are -4 super banes. So for builds, for neutral IVs, you can keep the default set. You can give her distant defense seal for mage baiting. You could possibly even bait some archers or dagger units if they are inflicted by Chilling Seal. Speed +3 is also a good one. More speed is always nice. and I don't think attack pull is that bad even though it doesn't stack with Chilling Seal. You can debuff the attacks of the other enemies that aren't affected by Chilling Seal. If you don't know what to build on her, then just keep the default set. The A slot is kind of limited for her. Fury is decent if all she's facing is melee units, otherwise a counterattack from a mage plus the recoil damage will put her out of Chilling Seal range. Depending on the IVs, I think you can run Death Blow, Darting Blow, or Swift Sparrow. For example, plus attack or plus speed IVs can run Death Blow with Heavy Blaze Seal and Glimmer. Plus speed IVs can also run Swift Sparrow with Horse Emblem. She can also use Darting Blow if she's getting used outside of Horse Emblem. Any of the builds I mentioned can run Iceberg or Glacies. They can even run Glimmer with Heavy Blaze Seal as well, except for minus attack IVs. And that's Gunnthra. Now let's go over the banner, then I'll wrap up everything else at the very end. So I have two lists. One is a hero list and the other is a skill fodder list. First of all, I wouldn't recommend something from this banner at all unless you are very new to the game. The quality of skill fodder in this banner isn't as good as the previous one. Anyways, let's just quickly do a rundown of each hero. For Reds, the best one would be brielfy. I think he's definitely one of the best offensive Red Cavaliers in the game. Him and Sigbert were neck and neck before the Heavy Blaze Seal came out. I would rank him slightly below Sigbert now, but he's still very strong. Most of his optimal skills are in his base set, so you don't have to spend too many resources on him. If you don't need him, then he's always useful as Gale Force fodder. Sigurd is one of the best defensive Red Cavaliers in the game that can still output some good damage. If you don't get the right IVs for him, then his offensive presence is kind of lackluster. With neutral IVs, even one home cavalry buff and speed plus 3 Sacred Seal wouldn't be enough for him to double meta sword heroes. He's excellent at one thing, which is surviving magical attacks even from Reinhardt, and how could I forget, he's also great at demonetizing videos. For fodder, he's the best among the 3 red units here. He has Close Defense 3 and Speed Smoke, which are both great defensive skills. Speed Smoke is flexible, you can use it both offensively or defensively. It can either prevent enemies from doubling your units, or it allows your units to double attack the enemy. Ryoma has been around in the game since the beginning, and he's still one of the better infantry sword units. I'd put him either second or third behind Ira. Because of his stat line and his built-in distant counter weapon, he's pretty versatile in regards to builds. You can go player phase with a Desperation set, a popular mixed phase set with Fury Advantage, or double distant defense to counter ranged enemies. The only problem is that he has really bad default skills, nothing is really worth sacrificing him for. For the blue units, Fjorm is the best one out of the 3. She's a medium tier for me, but she should probably be a little lower just because everyone can get her for free. But anyway, she's great as a ranged check. She can tank some versions of Reinhardt's and even some green mages with the right setup. Not a very costly hero either. Every skill works well with one another, but you can swap out her B skill and special slot for something like Quicker Post or Glacies or Iceberg. I don't like getting rid of unique skills, but it is something you can consider doing. All of her skills are great fodder material: attack, defense, bond, shield pulse, and drive attack. Shield pulse is a rare skill, but it's kind of difficult to find the right use for it. You'll probably want to use her as attack, defense, bond fodder. Bright Charlotte is a pretty good offensive unit, really high attack and HP, but that's about it. She just doesn't stand out. There's a bunch of Lance units out there that has one less attack than her, and they can almost run the same offensive builds as her. Skills aren't that great. First Bite Plus is a decent weapon when upgraded, but there's a bunch of better Lances out there. Lucina's only good stat is speed, so she can't really run anything besides a Blade Tome. For fodder, she's great for Swift Sparrow, excellent skill for offensive heroes with good bulk. Unlike Life and Death, Swift Sparrow provides a good amount of offensive stat boost on initiation without any stat loss. Onto the greens, Gunnthra. I pretty much went over everything earlier. I think she's better than Cecilia, that's for sure, and since those are the only 2 green tome cavaliers in the game, I'm going to value her a lot higher. She's not that bad offensively despite her stats, and she provides pretty good utility with her global B skill and employability. I think she'll get better as more skills are introduced. The only thing worth foddering her for is Res Ploy. It's good, but it's not as good as the other ploys. Next is Amelia, amazing stat line, high BST, and 2 great skills for fodder. Enough said. Springcrom is kind of in the same boat as Charlotte. Fairly good unit, but he doesn't stand out. The only skill worth inheriting from him is Carrot X+. Elise is considered the best staff unit. She has one, if not the best offensive stats for a staff unit, and being a cavalier is icing on the cake. With horse buffs, she's going to hit really hard, especially since colorless units have no weapon triangle disadvantage. She also comes with gravity and recover, which in my opinion are some of the best skills for staff units in their respective slots. Brightland isn't as good as Elise, but she's my #1 infantry unit. She has above average speed, which prevents a lot of doubles, especially if she's plus speed. That makes her a bit more bulkier compared to other healers despite her lower defensive stats. She may not hit as hard as someone like Lucius, but it's not like these 2 units are made for 1-round KOing. Candlelight and Dazzling Staff are the other skills worth sacrificing her for. Dazzling isn't as valuable as before since it's more efficient to refine the weapon with the Dazzling effect and inherit Wrathful Staff from Jenny. But she's the only one with Candlelight, so you should probably sacrifice her for that. Last but not least is Innis, amazing res tank archer with a great default skill set. Pretty much good to go out of the box, but you can swap out his A skill for distant defense if you are looking for a better skill. If you lack a good offensive archer, you can always just slap on a brave bow with the other complementary skills. He's got the stats to do that too. Nothing worth sacrificing him for except for Cancel Affinity, but that skill honestly isn't that big of a deal. Alright, so I would recommend that you skip this banner unless you are extremely new to the game and require more units for Arena Assault, then sure, go right ahead. The unit selection in this banner is not as good as the previous legendary banner. The legendary banners aren't as special as I initially thought they would be because it looks like we're getting one at the end of every month. It would make sense since the only way to summon these legendary heroes are by summoning them from these banners. As for Gunnthra, I think she's worth getting, but you should wait until the next legendary banner to see if there's a better selection of heroes. Also, there will be a New Year's banner that will have Dagger Takumi, Flying Axe Dancer Azura, Bow Archer Male Korin, and Flying Sword Camilla. So if you are as interested as I am in this next banner, then you should probably save your orbs. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.